A rugby important period of time in his season. It's all about, as I mentioned earlier on, Martin, his link with the centres, but undoubtedly the attacking threat on the wings. Naya Ravoro, Tommy Seymour and Stuart Hogg at fullback. They're the attacking strike force of the Glasgow Warriors team.
Well, there is the referee, Wayne Barnes, who will be rather hoping that a sizable Georgian doesn't feel his collar over the course of the next 80 minutes. Those who were tuned into the match down at the Liberty Stadium last week will know exactly what I'm referring to. So it will be the Warriors playing from left to right, the rain coming down. It's actually the first rain we've seen all day in Kilmarnock. Been pretty wet here over the course of the last few weeks, which of course is while we are in Kilmarnock. So, Glasgow treating this very much as a one-off. Go out there, beat one of the biggest sides in European rugby and relaunch their own season. They've got so much to play for, of course, defending the Pro 12 title and still the outside chance of qualifying in this competition as well. Early catch, and that was impressive from Stuart Hogg, the fullback. Straight into the action, James Eddy, making his first appearance for the Warriors for almost 4 months. There's, well, the offloading king, Nakarawa, and Luke Charteris, the Wales international, trying to get the ball out of his hands. The chip ahead there from the scrum half, Ali Price. This is Dupishu, offloads it, keeps the ball in field. Tidying up there is Chris Marceau. Well, Machino getting driven off the ball. There's Francois van der Merwe. Van der Merwe, one of 2 players in the current Racing squad who knows what it's like to be promoted from Pro D2 with the club that were known as Racing Metro. Maxime Machino back in favour with the France selection panel, selected by Guy Noves for the upcoming Six Nations. Shalva Mamukashvili, Georgia international. His first throw in. Goes to the turn, finds Gray. Well picked up there on the half volley. Crashing forward there was Dunbar. Russell, Hogg, injection of pace. That was a good covering tackle coming from Henri Chavancy. And there from Price to Mamukashvili. Just outside the Racing 22. Russell. Powerful run there from Alex Allen. Russell. Here's Hogg again. An encouraging start here from Glasgow. They have to work hard to break down this Racing defence. There simply is no better defence in the competition than theirs. But there's some space here. Ravoro just feeding the ball infield. The 8th phase. Mamukashvili that time. Edging their way towards the Racing line. Racing have only lost twice this season. Both of those on the road. One of them at the top 14's bottom club, Agen. Here's young Sam Johnson. His first season as a Glasgow player. It's just his second start.
Glasgow just have to be patient as they build through the phases of possession. It's been a good start for them. Tight on their control, they're driving well, and there's pace being added by the backs.
Look at that. Up to now, the 16th phase. That time it was Gray receiving the ball from Nakarawa. Here he goes again. Phase number 18.
Yeah, sometimes it needs more than just one player. really just going in there. It needs a solid drive there and support from the Glasgow team.
Russell. That's Dunbar. They've held him up. He's desperate to get to ground, which he has done. Here it is again for Price, onto Allen. Well in possession, but slowly being forced back, and then there's the steal. And that was well read by Dumoulin, but the ball did just go forward. In fact, it's Wenceslas Loré on the ground there, just poaching that.
Set and go for the, make sure you don't go beyond the
Well, the defensive effort was good from Racing Metro. Glasgow went through the faces, but it was well read there, the pass away from Ali Price. Price, who's impressed me in his role at scrum half, covering for the injured Henry Pyrgos. And just Glasgow misreading the lines as well there.
Patience.
Okay, well, both these teams have changed more than half of their starting lineups from the sides which started a couple of weeks ago in the reverse fixture. You will recall that this fixture down at Colombes in Paris was due to be over the first weekend, but look here at the possession stats, which maybe shouldn't surprise us too much. More than 80% held by the home side. Ali Price at scrum half. Tell us a bit about him, Scott, because reading in the Scottish newspapers, one of the papers this week did a sort of 6 to follow new names in Scottish rugby, and he was among them. He's a bit down the batting order here at Glasgow at the moment, here because of injuries to others, but he's certainly impressed, hasn't he?
Yeah, Michael Blair is also concussed at the moment, and Ali Price has been given his chance because also Henry Pyrgos, and he's only recently signed a longer-term contract just at the tail end of last year, but he really has impressed. He links well, actually, with his forwards. He's got a good pass, he's strong on his feet as well, and certainly, as you said, Martin, one for the future.
Well, there we saw the sheer power of that Racing pack. But it's Glasgow who get the penalty.
You're fine, but he's staying around the ball, so. Yeah, well, get underneath.
Well, there is Chris Masoe, earned the last of his 20 caps for the All Blacks in that fateful 2007 Rugby World Cup semi-final, or quarter-final I should say, against France in Cardiff. So Finn Russell missed an early one last week at Northampton, but then found his aim and his range. And that's a fairly relaxed way to start. Glasgow lead by 3 points to 0.
Well, you saw the rain bucketing down here. It's been good weather actually over the last 48 hours, and so typical that the rain comes on 15 minutes before kick-off. It will affect the handling. Obviously the surface, it'll just be a little bit greasy off the top of this surface, the plastic turf here at Rugby Park here at Kilmarnock.
Yes, we saw Gregor Townsend there alongside Matt Taylor, part of the coaching staff here. Joined by Dan McFarland as well, who came over from Connacht. So there's Price, on to Peterson. Peterson, the US international.
Use it! I'll set.
That's one for Tommy Seymour to chase, but didn't really have enough depth on it, but it's gathered well by Seymour. Just inside his own half. Topped up by Gray, on to Russell. Here goes Dunbar. Across comes Brice Dulin.
Inside, mate.
Brice Dulin has rather lost his lustre since he's been at Racing. Out of the France squad, and that kick was miscued, and that will be a line out back and about, what, 40 metres or so inside the Glasgow half.
Really interesting centre position, bottom of your picture here. Chavancy, Seymour took that one well, but Chavancy, when Glasgow moved, it forced the kick because he flew up onto the Glasgow line. So if Glasgow are going to spread the ball wide, as we know they will do, they like a wider game and a wider platform, that Chafonsi, they may pull the centre out of position.
2 metres, please. Don't go 50. Just hold to the ball, Scott.
So here is Kamil Shah, just 20. Lorre couldn't gather it, and then has to get out of the way of it. There's the kick from Russell. Back goes Dula. And Rowan O'Gara was telling me just before kick-off that he thought this synthetic surface was, even by the standards of synthetic pitches, very hard. So you get the ball over the head of somebody like Dula, there's often very little he can do about it.
Quick decision making there from Finn Russell. He knew exactly
Glasgow,
what the option was, having stolen that line out.
There is Chris Marceau. Machino with a clearing kick. So we're through the first 10 minutes. Glasgow leading by 3 points to 0. Maxime Machino, who will have the kicking duties today for Racing. Luc Ducalcon, a number of those players out of favour at the moment with the full France setup.
Dommage, merci. Okay.
Luke Charteris in that Racing boiler room today, his final season in France before he returns in this direction. In fact, he's going to be playing at Bath in the Aviva Premiership. The inside ball there, taking play inside the Racing half. That was Seymour at pace, gathered by Peterson. Onto Nakarawa, who's lost the ball, so an advantage being played here.
Advantage over.
Slightly loose offload, gathered up there by Kamil Shah. Here's Dula, onto his preferred left foot. Well, it's 3 points to 0 here in Kilmarnock. And the update from Parker Scarlets down there in West Wales, well, they're still waiting for their first points. For Glasgow to move into the best runners-up spots, they have to win here with a try bonus point and hope that Northampton go home with nothing. So in other words, a defeat down there by 8 or more points.
No, break away, break away, break away. Thank you.
That is as things stand. Very early days, but 2 points for Northampton would take them up to 16. Taken there by Marceau. There is Machino. The carry there from Wenceslas Lorre. Thalès. Here's de Moulin. Machino gathering that at about the 4th snatch. Marc-André plays scrum half. Charteris. Doolan with the offload, but well taken there by Russell, but then lost forward by Price.
Yeah, the wet conditions there making its toll on the players there. It's interesting watching Racing Metro. They're climbed to the top of the top 14. Just here the offload from Doolan, intercepted by Russell, but then the subsequent knock-on from Price. Just going back to the form of this Racing 92 team, they've been outstanding and building in this season throughout the top 14, obviously unbeaten in Europe as well. And well, they had a draw, of course, earlier in the campaign, but unbeaten. And they often rely on their pack of forwards, but I think they're expanding the game, Martin. And undoubtedly Ronan McGarra and the arrival of Daniel Carter, there is ambition, and I think the players are playing with that ambition as well.
Well, the Parisians haven't actually lost a Champions Cup pool match since they went to Clermont right at the end of the pool phase 2 seasons ago. So, in other words, 2 years ago. They won 6 out of 6 last year before rather losing their heads in the quarter-final in the last few moments when they conceded that try, that penalty, when under no real threat at all against Saracens. Marcelo Bosch knocking that penalty over for almost halfway. There's Marchenot, just catching the heels there of Bernard Leroux. And now here's an opportunity for Nairaboro. Well, he's lost it forward in the contact, but the arm is out from Wayne Barnes.
He's trying to place it. It's come off you. That's called a turnover.
So it is a Glasgow penalty.
It was good running lines initially by Racing Metro, but the quality of Leone Nakarawa as he comes across into a shot. Look at the way he scoops that ball off, overloads, gets the offload onto Nairaboro, and suddenly things spark when he gets the offload game going for Glasgow. Glasgow tick off him.
Well, that was the big hand of Charteris.
All onside. Touched.
Opportunity for Nairaboro with a little bit of space. Look at the tackle there from Bernard Leroux. There goes Gray, the captain. That was Allen, the loose head. At that time it went through the hands of Nakarawa. There it is for Ali Price. Price. Johnson on to Dunbar. Peterson being held up by Masoe. Well, we've got our first score down at Parky Scarlets, and the interception, and it is the head coach's son again, as it was last week at Franklin's Gardens, now at Parky Scarlets. Harry Mallender, converted try, and Northampton are 7 points to the good. And this is the impact on this pool. Not good news for Glasgow, but Northampton will, as things stand, move on to 18 points. So into one of those qualification spots as a best runner-up. There's the high ball, eventually gathered by Chavoncy. There's Dula. There you can see how it impacts on the top 8 as Chavoncy goes through. Those top 4 have all qualified, as have Toulon. So we have now 5 of the 8 teams moving into the quarterfinals. But as things stand, Northampton moving into 8th alongside Ulster. There's still plenty of time to go down there in West Wales.
No, after they lost, you had 2 nights. Yeah, there were 2 nights. No, behind you.
Racing have already won once this season on the plastic. They won over at the Stade Charles Maton in the top 14 against Oyonnax. Well, not entirely by the book, but eventually goes into the hands of Demoulin. Tallez there, just getting man and ball and knocking it on. There is Remy Tallez.
Well, I'm afraid it's one of these nights, isn't it, that we're going to get a bundle of knock-ons, and it's all about trying to eliminate the mistakes. Both teams should be looking to play a little bit more territory. There's a lot of handling going on, and you sometimes wonder to dominate, and if you're going to pressurise a team into making a handling error, well, it's good to force them down back into their own 22 and get the handling error and the scrum in the 22 area. So a lot of the game being played in this middle section here of the pitch.
Yes, if you want to illustrate the depth that they've got in the squad at Racing 92, look at it in terms of their reserves that they have in the 10 jersey. Dan Carter, their number 1. Remy Tallez, France fly half, is their number 2. And then the number 3, a certain Johan Huijsen, who started at fly half for the Springboks.
Sorry, Martin, I'm just looking at the shot here. Look at the lineup of the Glasgow backs. This is a bit of Gregor Townsend invention. The line of 3 players behind Finn Russell, then Stuart Hogg and Tommy Simo. Are they going to go left? Are they going to go right? Let's watch what Townsend has planned for his back division to attack off this scrum.
Stay down, 7.
Well, it's a solid Glasgow scrum this time. There it is for Price. On to Russell. Hogg. And that came off the shins, I think it was of Dumoulin. Is Henri Chevancy. Looks up, he knows the full-back is up, so Russell has to go back, and Russell will have to pick this up quickly because Chevancy was bearing down on him. There's the clearing kick from Hogg, which hasn't gone entirely where it was intended to do. Marceau on to Dulin. Dulin's got some help out wide from Tallez. Here's Tallez. But the pass went forward.
Well, there was an attacking option there down that right-hand side. But originally, when Chevancy put the kick in, well, this kick for me should have been down in that to the left of your picture because nobody was at home in the Glasgow defence there.
Wait, yeah. So going to get you closer.
Yet he turned it into a reasonable kick with a chase, didn't he? Which forced the poor return from Hogg and created space for that fella.
And if Racing had actually executed there, they were away on that far side as well.
Thanks, 7. To stay on it. Crouch! Bind!
Yes, talking about quality fly halves, there's no shortage of those tonight here in Kilmarnock. Two members of the coaching staff, Gregor Townsend, Ronan O'Gara. 4 involved in the match tonight. I've just looked to my right and working for a French television channel, Benjamin Boyer, another former France international fly half. So everywhere you look. Here's Hogg, he's a world-class fullback. So it's still 3 points to 0. We're through the opening quarter of the match.
Right, you want it quicker? Just don't let his legs stick out there too long.
Yeah, Hogg has the ability to split a defence every time he gets the ball. I know from a Glasgow Warriors perspective, it's like a horse bolting down a racetrack. People react to what he does, and you know, undoubtedly as he builds his reputation as a real attacking threat from that full-back position, players have to latch onto his running lines.
There's Wenceslas-Lore in the middle of the line-out.
5!
There it is again with Camille Sharp. Look how powerful he is at just the age of 20. Here goes Dumoulin. Being held up by Johnson and Nakarawa. They're up to the Glasgow 22. Another carry from Camille Sharp. Marceau. For the first time, Racing starting to threaten. Here's Luc Ducalcon.
Okay, hand off now, hand off now.
Slow ball for Machinot. Tellez.
Now let go. Good competition, 8 on the street.
Machinot just finding it between his feet, grubs it ahead, and that was well read by Price, the scrum half.
Yeah, Kushka. Yeah.
Let's go and hear from Kenny Murray.
You do.
Kenny, what do you made of the first quarter of this match?
Yeah, really good start for us. I think we've managed to keep the ball pretty well. The weather conditions are tough for both teams, very, very wet and slippery out there. I think for us it's just about playing in the right territory and transferring some of that pressure through our kicking game. So, no, we're pretty pleased. Our aerial battle's been pretty good as well. I mean, Tommy Seymour's put them under a lot of pressure in there, so we're really happy how we started.
Scott Hastings was admiring the way the backs were lining up behind that midfield scrum earlier. What was the plan there? What were we trying to achieve?
Yeah, you're just trying to cause a bit of confusion in the defence and keep them thinking about how you're going to attack. So it's just about really keeping them on their toes and giving yourself options to attack both sides of the scrum.
I noticed you had a couple of penalties. One you took the points, the other you went for the corner. Is that just captain's call on the pitch?
Yeah, we let players try and make those decisions themselves where possible. I mean, Finn will know and Stuart Hogg will know whether they feel the kick's a good option or not. But we've had good pressure, so we want to try and build on that. So we're getting good areas, but we'll try and turn that into points if we can.
Thanks, Kenny.
Cheers.
Yeah, good to hear Kenny Murray, the assistant coach at the Glasgow Warriors. Of course, he coached just down the road from here, Ayr, 15 miles down from Kilmarnock. Great spot in the world, and they're one of the top teams in the club scene here in Scotland.
Line. Set.
So let's see how this Glasgow scrum fares. It's done well enough. The pick up there from Nakarawa. And they get themselves a penalty.
That's why you've got competition for it. 7 away, please. Yeah. 6, sorry, not 7.
Wenceslas Loré is penalised.
Yeah, Laurie originally made a very, very good tackle. Well, there's a ball gone into the local housing estate outside this rugby park.
Yeah, okay, but I understand. The lean to play.
Yes, you do have to wonder if Racing, having qualified already for the quarterfinals with a home quarterfinal, will they get caught here with their guard down? So, Mamukashvili there with the throw. And more news from Parky Scarlets, and I'm afraid it's not good news for the Glasgow Warriors, and it's the Samoa international George Peacey going over there for the Saints. So Northampton already 2 tries to the good. And this is the impact on Pool 3 as things stand. Racing away and clear, of course, whatever happens here. But Northampton on to 18 points, and they will now start to look towards maybe not only winning that match, but picking up what may prove to be a crucial try bonus point. So they're already halfway to that. 2 tries, Harry Malander and now George Peacey, barely a quarter of the way through the match, and they have those 2 tries. It's again tucked under the arm of Kamil Shah. It's there for Machino, a couple of metres inside the Glasgow half. Tales, the little chip over the top. That's meant for Chavancy. Well covered though by Dunbar, and the referees awarded the penalty.
First entry and then a second entry.
So Glasgow guilty of coming in from the side.
Yeah, it was interesting. Nakarawa came in from a side entry point of view, so technically Wayne Barnes absolutely spot on there, but he didn't affect actually the resultant driving maul.
That's it.
The one thing that Glasgow certainly will be wary of is the power of that Racing driving maul. So whenever we get any of those penalties being fired into the bottom 5 or 10 metres of the Glasgow end of the pitch, 3 of the 4 tries which Racing scored in the reverse fixture came from that driving maul. If that's going to happen, Kamil Shah will have to improve his throwing in. That's 2 that he's missed.
I know he threw to the back, but in the second row, Luke Charteris, you got a telegraph pole you should need for that one first of all.
Well, it has, over the course of the last 2 or 3 seasons, been such an effective weapon, really, for Racing, that line-out. Jean-André Krier, the jack-in-a-box, one of the best line-out players in the game, who's on the bench today. He used to pick up so much ball in the line-out, and now, of course, when you've got Luke Charteris, all 2 metres and a few centimetres of him. But, of course, you do rely on the hooker to throw in straight. Dmitry Charshevsky tonight for Racing. Virgil Lacombe is the replacement hooker. Nakarawa with the pick-up, playing in a slightly unfamiliar position today. He stepped back from the second row to play at number 8. There's Price, back to Hogg. It's a better strike. Doolan.
Keep coming.
Well, that's one for Dupichot to get underneath. So to Brice Doolan. Many taller men around, but on that occasion, none more determined than him. Here's Dumoulin. There's Johnson grabbing a leg. Then fumbled forward off the fingertips of Chris Marceau. Well, it's turned around a little, hasn't it? 68% of the possession over the course of the last 10 minutes has gone the way of Racing. So slowly, they're getting back into the match.
Yeah, but interesting that, you know, Racing have only got into the Glasgow 22 on one occasion, and it's such a loose ball. The ricochet here fell favourably for Bruce Nolan. Look at him, got up there, kept his eyes on the ball. That's what kept the possession for Racing 92. Left footer, look at him, eyes on the ball, up he goes. Good technical play there from the fullback. Got it on the second bite.
5, set.
Not much for the home crowd to shout about in the opening half an hour of this game.
Nakarawa pops it up for Price. Oh, and Russell loses it. And then rather carelessly hacks it forward, so the referee will play the advantage. Doolan's so dangerous on the counter-attack, but the referee's going to come back for the original knock-on.
You know, interesting enough, you know, looking at that mistake there from Russell, there's some great stuff he does, and then suddenly the lack of concentration. But again, Glasgow are playing a lot of rugby in their own half. I don't think they need to do this. They need to be attacking down in that Racing 92-22.
Same on there, ball then.
But what do you attribute that to? Because it was a straightforward ball. Well, it was just an unforced error, wasn't it?
We've all done it. It's a lack of concentration. It's absolutely having the discipline in your game to focus on everything that you do. And that's what separates the great rugby players from the ones that make mistakes and are a little bit ordinary.
Here's Tallez, missing out Dumoulin, onto Chavancy, Marc-Andre, but it's another forward pass, and they've been a little bit careless too, haven't they, Racing?
Yeah, we've got a litany of errors happening in this opening half. Not only forward passes, that's what, 3 or 4 I think Racing Metro have been pinged for, and a bundle of knock-ons as well.
There is Chavancy. He's been at the club since he was a youngster. He, along with Francois van der Merwe, the 2 players still in the squad who came from the Pro de Deux days. Despite the many millions that have been invested by their owner Jackie Lorenzetti, it's sometimes easy to forget that they were a second flight team just 7 or 8 years ago. Now consistently in the top 6 in France. Last season came through with flying colours into the knockout phase in Europe. And according to the bookies, they are the favourites for this year's prize. There's Price. He had to gather that between his knees. There's James Eddy. Price. Hogg. Change of direction. Well, Dupichot chose not to go underneath it. I think he rather bottled that one, didn't he? A chip ahead from Doolan. Oh, a chance here, maybe. There's Price. Hogg. Here's Seymour. And it all came from the failure of Dupichot to get under the high ball. Russell, the cross kick. Well, it's 3 against 1, and it almost landed in the hands of Nairaboro. Counter here. Marc-Andre. Back goes Finn Russell. Chavancy bearing down on it. Cavonte has to wait for him to get back to his feet. Well, eventually the cavalry arrives.
Down, both sides.
Here's Peterson. So 7 minutes to go to half time. Still 3 points to nil. Glasgow lead. Nakarawa.
Inside.
Well, 3 points to nil. Not too much to get excited about just yet here in Kilmarnock, but there will be plenty tomorrow. We're at the Stade Marcel Michelin. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Sky Sports 3, Clermont-Auvergne against Bordeaux-Bègles. And then we shall wrap up the whole weekend. Alex Corvisiero recently decided to take a break from the game. He'll be our studio guest. European Rugby Special, the full wrap-up of the whole weekend. That's at 9:30 tomorrow. Well, let's see how things stand looking across the 5 pools. Saracens winners in the Veal Rose today. 28 points from a possible 30. An outstanding achievement. They will go in very much as the poll leaders. Racing 92. Playing here, of course. 4 wins out of 5 so far, 23 points. Leicester in action in Paris tomorrow against Stade Francais. They're lying in 3rd. And Wasp, so those 4 have all gone through as pool winners. Beneath them, Toulon, their win today at Bath, good enough to take them through as one of the best 3 runners-up. Good win earlier today for Ulster against Oyonnax. One other match happening as we speak down at Parc y Scarlets in West Wales. That was a little bit of a fumble from Macheneau, and it's 12 points to 3 down there at the moment to Northampton. 2 tries, so Northampton in pole position in this pool to maybe go through as a best runner-up. There goes Maxime Macheneau, looking to find a gap in this Glasgow defence. Once again, the lack of precision in the handling. Tales mops up. There's confirmation of that score from down in Llanelli. Harry Mallender, George Peacey, the try scorers for Northampton. On here to Francois van der Merwe. Here's Bernard Leroux. Leroux, who's unavailable for the first weekend of the Six Nations because he's going home to South Africa to get married. Interesting scheduling. Macheneau as Ducalcon gets himself back to his feet. Here's Loré. All very static here from Racing. And I have to say, this is Racing at their worst. They occasionally can get rather stodgy.
Absolutely, and they're quite happy just slowing it down in these particular conditions. As we were talking earlier, they do have the ability to go wide, but they have returned to type here.
Yes, this is when they can be rather frustrating. Tales, Demoulin. There goes Brice Dulin. Dulin, who has the qualities to lighten up and warm up a cool night in West Scotland. Macheneau, Tales, Camille Shah, head down, ball dislodged. Navarro was right in the thick of that. Well, this fella's putting himself about, isn't he? What a specimen at the age of 20.
Yeah, Shah's good. I saw him play for France out in Italy last year in the World Rugby Under-20s Championship, and his bullocking runs and his ability to get involved in the game was quite outstanding. Lovely little interplay down that blind side. Left the space there for Shah, but look how many Glasgow shirts got across to defend. And eventually, Tangeli Ravoro got in there and gave him a bit of a shunt there in the back to dislodge the ball.
Well, that's Simone Favreau, who's down having taken a bit of a knock. Favreau, the Italy international. went to the World Cup eventually, wasn't originally selected by Jacques Brunel. Jacques Brunel, who's staying on, who had originally intended to leave his job as the Italy coach after the World Cup, but has agreed to stay on through to the end of the Six Nations. There is Pool 3 as it stands. Racing at the moment just earning a single losing bonus point here, trailing by 3 points, so they'll be on to 23. An impressive points difference. Northampton, they at the moment looking to go through as a best runner-up, leading down there in West Wales. 12 points to 3, 2 tries to Jim Mallander's men. One of those from his son Harry. Harry Mallander, who rather broke Glaswegian hearts last week with that very late try when Glasgow were down to 14 men. Tim Swinson sent to the bin. Subsequently banned for 1 week, which is why he's not here. That was a bit untidy from Nakarawa. Price having to dummy himself out of a tight spot.
You know, there's maybe a little bit of inexperience from Price. He got his mix-up in communication wrong with his number 8. But having made the little break here, watch this. Nakarawa flicks it through the back there. Now, Price was very clever because he didn't panic. He showed it. Now, he should have banged that one down his right foot. Spiral kick right down the touchline. He had an opportunity to really clear long. Maybe under a little bit of pressure, actually, from the wing. Couldn't maybe get his kick, and they couldn't get the distance on the kick.
Catch there from Van der Merwe. 13 of the Racing starting 15 are France qualified. They include Francois Van der Merwe. Here goes Tallez. There's Luke Ducalcon. Head down, straight into Mamukashvili. Charteris pops it up for his second row partner, Van der Merwe. That's Wenceslas Lorre. And it's really just sparring at the moment, isn't it? Ducalcon tries to penetrate the Glasgow defence, as does Marceau. This is a bit better. Bernard Leroux within 5 metres. Racing keeping it tight, playing the power game. That was sharp. There's Ducalcon again. Van der Merwe this time, just gesturing at Mamukashvili. Oh, and then it's lost forward, flying off the boot of Brunel. Last 2 minutes of the half. Racing starting to warm to their task, but as you saw there, still a lack of precision. That's Mamukashvili. Finn Russell right back with his heels on the dead ball line. And there's the cross kick. Back goes Chavancy. Chasing him down is Seymour. It's there for Machino. Scrum half on the counter. Just brushing off Finn Russell. Dumoulin. Tallez, back to Dumoulin again. Look at Kamil Shah looking for the ball. It's loose, and Johnny Gray tried to pounce on it, but it's still a Racing ball. Last minute of the half. Tallez in there to his former Castres colleague Brice Dulin. And Van der Merwe having to pop it up. There's Tuafisi who just got a hand in. Chavancy is running around the back of Ducalcon. It's all rather directionless at the moment. Tallez, Lorre. Dumoulin over the halfway line, and once again forcing the knock on. Here's a gift for Tuafisi. Then he too loses it forward. Wayne Barnes just waving his arms. I'm not sure whether he's doing that with a degree of exasperation or just to tell them to get on with it. Here goes Hogg. You have to say, on the evidence of the first 40 minutes, they're partly I think, doing it to themselves, but Glasgow making one of the best sides in Europe look very ordinary. There's Johnson. Dunbar. Oh, out of the back of the hand, and then Nairaboro just knocks it on. And that will bring to an end one of the less memorable first 40 minutes in the season's European Champions Cup. Glasgow have the lead. The penalty coming very early on from Finn Russell. Racing 92, starting to exert some pressure in the second quarter of the match, but, well, it's all to play for as they go into half-time. And coming up during the half-time break, we've got a Saturday update. Saracens, Racing, Leicester, Wasps, all through as pool winners. Toulon definitely through as the best runner-up. The Ospreys, they're in action tomorrow down at Exeter. Ulster, bonus point win for them today against Oyonnax. Northampton at the moment still leading by 12 points to 3 down at the Parc y Scarlets. 2 tries. They desperately need a win, and perhaps equally desperately need the 4 tries at all 5 points that will take them very much into contention for the quarter-final. Stade Francais among those in the hunt. They play tomorrow at home to Leicester. So Glasgow leading here against Racing. And Racing, well, they've had quite a season, as we've said many times. Beaten just twice. The places they've won on the road, they won at Toulon. That was right at the start of the season. They won on the plastic at Oyonnax. And also at Clermont-Auvergne in the top 14. Not many sides win at the Stade Marcel Michelin. That's unconquered territory in Europe for 8 years now, since Sale won there. Been beaten a few times in the top 14, beaten there a couple of times this season, in fact. But Racing know how to win away from home, but at the moment they trail Glasgow. 4 wins out of 5 so far for Racing in the pool phase. The 5th match they drew at Northampton. There's Bristow, popped up by the scrum half Machino. A little one there to chase for Marc-André, but rather innocuously he went into touch.
Well, Martin, the rain's just gone off here over the half-time period, so I just wonder if it'll just open up a wee bit. John Barkley was saying at half-time it gets very slippy with the surface, but as the game goes on with a drier ball perhaps, we might see fewer mistakes actually happening in this second half.
Yes, it's just the second time a rugby union match has been played here at Kilmarnock. The first time about 15 or 16 months ago when Scotland beat Tonga. 5 tries that day. 3 of the try scorers starting for Glasgow. Stuart Hogg, Alex Dunbar and Tommy Seymour know how to score tries on this ground.
I'm just having a look here, and technically I think the maul maybe hadn't formed to start with in any way when the drive started, so Wayne Barnes asked for that to be stopped, and it wasn't. So Racing Metro with an attacking scrum on that 22-metre line.
Julien Brugnot over on the Lucette side for Racing. He was Munster's first France international. Earned a couple of caps when he was a player at Dax. Spent a season in Limerick. There's Chris Marceau. Machino to move. His last season as a Racing player. He's on his way to Montpellier next term. Wenceslas Laure takes a lot of knocking down. Machino. Well, he was trying to find Dumoulin. They couldn't get it to him. Now a chance made for the counter. There's Russell. Nairaboro. And there was just a foot in touch. Luke Pearce, you can see over on the far side, with his flag held aloft. Bernard Leroux just having an exchange of views with Tangeli Nairaboro. Got a bit of edge to him, hasn't he, Bernard Leroux?
He's obviously not getting enough physical contact in the forwards. Wenceslas Lorette taking the ball on, but just losing the possession at that point there. Just felt that the pass here should have gone straight out to the winger rather than through the extra pair of hands.
Well, once again the darts go astray. Here's Johnson, an Australian in his first season in Scotland. Johnny Gray, his brother Richie, on his way to the Ville Rose next season, moving from Castres to Toulouse. Toulouse, frankly, feckless in this season's Champions Cup. Their worst ever performance in Europe's senior competition. Well, picked up on the bounce there by Lorre. Look at Shah just looking to get involved in the loose. That's Henri Chevancy. Well, stolen by Nakarawa. Price. On to Mamukashvili. Price to change of direction. Maevoro, not really with any space to work with, but the referee was playing an advantage.
Yeah, good turnover there by Leone. Nakarawa gets involved there, playing number 8. Of course, we're used to seeing him playing in the second row. Former Fijian 7-star. He's done some good work tonight, Martin. The way he carries the ball high, but look at this. The big mitts over the top, pinches the ball here. He's had some tremendous offloads in tonight's game as well.
Well, the catch and drive is the potent threat which Racing pose. A chance maybe here for Glasgow to give them a bit of their own treatment. And the ball has to go to hand first. There's James Eddy. He's been at the club for more than a decade. There's Puafisi, the Tongan. They're up to the Racing 22. Mamukashvili, the Georgian. Eddy again. He's from these parts, having played his club rugby down there. Johnson pops the ball up to Dunbar. The captain, Gray. A little breakthrough there from Price, but the referee has blown his whistle.
You played the ball on the floor. Number 5, first penalty. Number 5 playing.
I thought Barnes would have played the advantage there when Price.
No advantage because a hole's created by your player pulling back.
All right, it was obviously a technical one there. Glasgow player had held a Racing player back, which allowed Price to go in, but a previous infringement has forced the penalty. When Glasgow get front foot rugby and front foot football, they can actually make an impact, but when they have to retreat off line out and start again, it makes it incredibly hard for Glasgow to set up their attacking three quarters.
Just a hole created by someone grabbing someone's shirt. On their line out, right, there's a real small.
One success already for Finn Russell.
And the common denominator seems to be you. No, facts.
And that, a second success from 2. He doubles the Glasgow advantage. Well, the rain has passed, pretty much. Just a little bit of drizzle out there at the moment, probably the driest it's been since about half an hour before kick-off. There's Tellez, it hasn't gone 10. Then play on though, if James Eddy can get his hands on it, but...
he played it.
Well, the referee says he played it, so in a roundabout sort of a way, that will now work for Racing.
Yeah, James Eddy played the ball, went out of touch, but interesting, Shah has lost 4 line-out throws in the game so far. Hasn't got 10, but... James Eddy quite rightly plays the ball. shot now. He has to nail his man. He's lost 4 line-outs, as I've said.
Nothing wrong with that one to Lorraine. Here goes Machino, sees a gap, gets through the attempted tackle from Mukashvili, but then the pass, well, the referee says it's flat. There goes Shah. This is the part of the game in which he excels. But then it's stolen. Great work there from Favreau, the Italy international. Eddie, on to Johnson. I think sensibly cutting inside there. They were running out of space over towards his touchline.
Use it!
Rice with a kick, Seymour's after it, Doolan's underneath it. Well taken by the fullback. Such a clever blow, it's Greece Doolan, but then it's turned round, and here goes Seymour! But the referee's blown his whistle. It was very, very late. But Tommy Seymour, for a moment, saw the little chink of light, the chink of hope, the try line ahead. And he's feeling his hamstring, and that's been his problem. That's why he hasn't played too much rugby recently. Let's hope he's okay. Just feeling the bottom of his hamstring.
Well, Prince had a great kick. It was run over by Tommy Seymour here. Good take by Doolan, wasn't it? Another good fullback play here. But this was where the turnover occurred. It was a kick of the ball.
Yeah, who's got it? Yeah, what's stopping?
You're allowed to kick the ball in the ruck when it's formed. It maybe have been deemed dangerous. I didn't hear the communication between Peter Allen, the touch judge there, and you're right.
1, 2, 3, 9. And 13. 1, 2, 3.
Well, Camille Shah waiting to throw it in. We've got more news coming from West Wales. A third Northampton try. And it's come from the big fella, Sam
13.
Dickinson, the shaven head. Look out for him. There he is, burrowing his way over. So, to Harry Malander, to George Peacey. Now add Ben Dickinson. There he is. And Northampton now, well, it doesn't improve their points at the moment, but if they can get another try, a 4th try, that will guarantee the try bonus point, and it'll take them to 19. So they will leapfrog Ulster.
Okay, watch on.
And that with those games to come tomorrow, sides who are still competing for that best runner-up spot, the likes of Stade Francais, well, they know they will have to do that a little bit better. And for Northampton, it could well be a 4th try that delivers them knockout rugby in April. That's Kinjagishvili off the bench for Racing 92. Change at scrum half as well. That's Shobo, the youngster. Racing penalised.
7 joining, not 10 for the grass.
Number 2, Camille Shah, and number 3, Luke Bouchalon.
Wenceslas Loré, who a well-informed French correspondent, has the leadership abilities to actually captain the national side. It's a question of whether he can actually become a regular starter for France, which is why I reckon Guy Vess has given the job, albeit in the short term, on a relatively short term, to Guillaume Garrado.
Yeah, no, that's the middle, the song, yeah.
Look at Bernard Leroux just flying in there, look at that.
Right in front of Wayne Barnes as well. You saw his immediate reaction, Barnes, to penalise the flanker.
Makarawa at the front of the line-out.
Always a more.
There are the 2 alterations in the front row that have been made, both props going off. Sadat Gomez-Sarr wearing 18, another product of that outstanding academy that they've got at Racing 92. Russell, he'll chip over the top, but it goes straight into the hand of the Racing player, but the referee
Just there,
was playing an advantage. alteration being made there in the midfield. On comes Lee Jones, and Lee Jones will move onto the wing. Naira Borro, I think, will now move into the 13 channel. Glasgow also making a change to the back row. Off comes the Italy international Simone Favero. He's been replaced by Chris Pizarro.
Really important from a Glasgow perspective that the changes that they made, they've got to add zest to this Glasgow Warriors team, get the crowd behind this team and see if they can play for this win.
Price just the little short pass. Here goes Seymour. Oh, Seymour very happy to be playing competitive rugby again. Price. Nakarawa. Price just stepping over the Racing player. Russell with Naira Borro. Well, this is better from Glasgow. Price again. You can see the last 10 minutes, almost 3/4 of the possession has been Glasgow's. Price continues to work the short side. There's Peterson, the Moulin. Grabs hold of a leg. Naira Borro takes another run at it. Price. Well, they've got an opportunity here if they can get it through the hands. Nakarawa. Well, that was an important tackle coming in from Chavonsi. This time it's Peterson. Just timing his run. Gomez cutting him down. Here's Johnny Gray. Nakarawa again. 5 metres to go here for Glasgow. And Mukashvili standing off, so too Puafisi. It is the Tongan this time. 4 metres out. Just looking for more. The drive repelled for a moment, threatening the line.
Here's the ball.
There's the best opportunity Glasgow have had all afternoon.
Stay there.
Price, Eddie Peterson, here goes Eddie. Going to roll through the tackle. Price goes to ground. Kinchakashvili was over the ball. Time to go back to scratch, set it up again. Johnny Gray. Peterson. Down to 4 metres again. Remember, this is the best defence in the Champions Cup this season. Price, Russell, now the space, and Hogg flies in for Glasgow. And what might this mean for the Warriors in the context of their season? They have spluttered, they've misfired, they've lost too many games, but could this be the turning point?
Well, that's the front foot rugby football that you're looking for if you're building momentum. Where Glasgow have failed over the last 4 weeks or so, they haven't been able to capitalise on that pressure. But Nakarawa, he was involved in this movement on 4 occasions, but also that good handling by James Eddy and the carry in the forward. And once they got into position, the switch of attack, look at the acres of space out there, good running lines, sucking in that Racing defence, and it's Hogg who's looked to be a threat all afternoon here, who scampers in for a try. Good play by Glasgow, steady build-up, and the rewards have come.
Proving a very fruitful day trip for Finn Russell, for Stuart Hogg, and for the Glasgow Warriors. And Hogg there, well, what was left behind after the hole appeared. Len and Ciele Blanc just looking at one another, just wondering what had happened to their defensive structures. Russell finding touch off his left foot. There's another alteration. On comes Xander Fagerson. Fagerson, who turned 20 this week, included in the Scotland squad for the Six Nations.
They'll come. Eight, Glasgow, keep the gap. 8. Thank you.
That's Lee Jones, Scotland international himself. Chavot onto Tales. Here's Dumoulin. Andre's come off his wing. Well, they were running diagonally, weren't they, Racing? So easy to defend against. That's Chavot, the young scrum half. Well, the bookmakers at the start of the weekend had Racing 92 down as their favourites to lift the trophy when we get to May. If they've been watching today, they will be far from impressed.
Well, it was a nice try, wasn't it? Just the angle that split the defence, but when you got a forward, Bernard Leroux hanging out there, he doesn't know what the call is in the defensive lines of the three-quarters, and Glasgow exploited it, and look at the delight on their faces. However, a mistake there, a high tackle. And Ravoro has given Racing a good opportunity here on the Glasgow 22 from which to attack.
So Virgil Lacombe, the replacement hooker.
Say more.
Lacombe twice of Toulouse, having had 2 stints there.
Première fois.
There's Chavot. Tales, now there's some space. Oh, and then Dulac just tries to side-foot it along, and rather innocuously, Marc-Andre goes into touch.
Not now.
Good defensive alignment there from the Glasgow defence. They flew up, they held their lines. Look at this, look at the right-hand blue line. Just standing out there, being patient. Lee Jones did well. And then the scramble on that far side.
Who's there?
An update from Parker Scarlets. Northampton already 3 tries to the good, desperate to get that 4th. And the Scarlets down to 14 men. They've got a man in the bin. So that you would have thought presents the perfect opportunity. That's exactly what Racing have done here for Glasgow. Into Parisian territory. There's Russell, on to Nakarawa, looking for the offload. Russell, the inside ball to the captain, Johnny Gray. The tackle high. Wayne Barnes is playing an advantage. Hogg just trying to drift through, he's Naira Boro. But then the ball goes astray, but will come back for the penalty. I think it was Luke Charteris who was the guilty party.
Well, here's the high tackle that comes in from Charteris. 2 metres and 6 comes in against Johnny Gray, who's what, 1 metre and 98. Good play from Glasgow here. They got the interception here, and then the impact of the subs, James Malcolm, but there was space on the outside. There should have been angles run on the outside, stretch the defence, but Malcolm chose to come in and come down that 5 metre channel. The net gain, however, there's the opportunity here for Finn Russell to extend Glasgow's lead.
Well, this afternoon he's taken his season success rate, his percentages into the low 70s. 3 from 3. Becomes 4 from 4. Well, it's all looking rather comfortable now, isn't it? And Finn Russell, well, that was his last action of the match. A perfect kicking record. Look at Lon-Tremere with a shaven head behind him. I must say, looking very puzzled indeed. Racing heading for what would be just their 3rd defeat of the season. On comes Duncan Weir. And this a landmark for him, making his 100th appearance for Glasgow. Back through there from Gomez. Here is Duncan Weir, Scotland international himself. One of those 16 players from the Glasgow club, among the 35 that Vern Cotter has named for the Six Nations.
Yeah, inside.
Well, the kick half charge down, and I can bring you an update from Parker Scarlett, and if you were scripting it, it's just the way you would do it. George North going back to his old home and getting the 4th try for Northampton, and that means they get the try bonus point. Here it is. There's George Peacey popping the ball up to Harry Mallender and out to George North. Back on home territory, and that is 4 tries. They're heading for 5 points, and I say with some caution, Northampton heading for the quarter-finals. There are how things stand in Pool 3. Racing 22 points, and that looks to be how it will finish for them. But now, significantly, Northampton doing just enough. 19 points. Toulon, we know they're already through as the best runner-up. Northampton leapfrogging Ulster, and they heading for the same status. 2 rounds of matches to come tomorrow. Among those still in contention, Stade Francais, who host the Leicester Tigers at Stade Jean-Bouin. Here's Chabot. Space here for Marc-Andre. Hasn't had too much of that today. 16 minutes to go in the match. There's Wenceslas-Loré, 5 metres out. Is there going to be a flourish here from the men in Ciel et Blanc? That was Francois van der Merwe. The referee awarding the penalty to the visitors.
It was Chris Fusaro there with a marvellous turnover, but the previous indiscretion penalised by Wayne Barnes, and well, the option just for Remy Tala is just a kick for touch here. Racing 92 will be desperate to get back into this game.
As they land, please, Glasgow.
Just trying to see what happened here, Martin. ET from the side, I think it was. Xander Fagerson came in.
Well, 3 of those tries in the reverse fixture from Racing came from the catch and drive. Here it is. They are the masters at it, and they've done it again. Racing 92. Well, you do have to wonder, it's almost unstoppable when it's pulled off as well as that. And it's Sadat Gomez-Sarr, just 22. What a prospect he is.
Well, when Racing get it right, they're almost unstoppable. We've seen an awful lot of this type of play, but look how they held, and they got their men on their feet. They got the drive, they got the momentum, they got the position, and over the try line they went, and that's just brought them back in touch. Now the conversion, very important here.
Well, the kicking duties have fallen to Brice Dulin. No Dan Carter. No Maxime Machineau now. And that's what happens when you have not even a part-time kicker. 2 points really given away. There's the try scorer. Make a note of the name. He's a real prospect going forward, is this man. Recently signed his first professional contract. So Duncan Weir goes deep. Long wait there for Chris Marceau. Last 13.5 minutes. Racing 92 have come to life. Long time since they've been beaten. Haven't been beaten since Dan Carter arrived after the World Cup. Just those 2 defeats in the top 14. The first one to Agen, and then they were beaten by Castres down at the Stade Pierre-Antoine. They haven't lost a pool match in the Champions Cup since this weekend 2 years ago, when they lost at Clermont-Auvergne in round 6. Here's Nakarawa.
He's been good tonight, man. He's carried the ball so well. His offloading has been good. He's been influential in everything he's done in his unfamiliar position at number 8.
So Gray passes the ball on. New half-back combination for the Warriors. And there goes Hogg at pace. Here's Seymour. He does everything quickly. Almost within sight of the 22. The arm is out from the referee. There it is again for Hart. Quick ball. There's the cross kick. Bit of a wait. And he was almost there, was Lee Jones. Just a bit too much on it, but the referee was playing their advantage there for the Warriors.
Yeah, Tommy Seymour, every time he's got the ball, and really Stuart Hogg's been sharp as well, but every time Seymour's got it, he's always busy, he's always looking for the work, he's chasing good high balls, and this particular high ball just escaping the clutches of Lee Jones on the far side.
Yes, Lee Jones, who's been mixing 15s and 7s quite a bit over the course of the last couple of years. I know he's playing rather more 15s at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Slow to a ball. I just don't want you to give him a slap or something.
Was a regular, wasn't he, for one Six Nations campaign for Scotland, but rather fell out of favour.
Yeah, he got a nasty concussion injury actually playing against Ireland, and hasn't really recovered fully in terms of getting back into the 15 setup, but certainly a star of the 7s as well.
Well, it's a nice way to celebrate, reaching 3 figures for the club in his 7th season. Duncan Weir almost sprinting back to his position. He enjoyed that.
Well, from a Glasgow perspective, the second 40 has certainly been an awful lot healthier. They've been solid, they've been steady, they've actually been more cohesive. Whether that's the conditions because they've improved, but in their captain Johnny Gray, he's done some sterling work to pull his team together.
Yes, Glasgow have made an alteration in the second row.
It's legal.
Scott Cummings is on. There he is. That's hard. The nephew of the former All Blacks coach, John Hart. That was Loré on to Dulin. Forcing the touch, there was Etienne Dusartre. Well, it's going to be a trip to the west of Scotland, which Racing will not want to remember. They have been very poor indeed. So Racing making a change in the second row. And it's one South African for another. Francois van der Merwe goes off. Jean-André Krier, once at Northampton, of course, comes on for Racing.
You okay, fella? Johnny? Okay, watch on.
So James Malcolm. It was Nakarawa who palmed it down. Weir. Right up into the rainy sky. Andra eventually got it, but took it into touch.
Not now, Stuart. Not now, fellas. The touch judges caught it.
You know, Glasgow have benefited from actually playing a little bit more territory this time. They've released some kicks. They've varied their game a little bit more. I appreciate there's been a change at the fly half position when Duncan Weir come on, but there's been a zest in the second half performance, and as I mentioned, certainly much more cohesion with the forwards. They've got front foot football, which have allowed the half-backs to dictate.
Fellas, there's only 4. Really a cat. 4.
So the home of Kilmarnock Football Club. Today, by the way, becoming the 108th venue in European Rugby's senior competition. Not that often we can add a new venue to the list. Yana Tower fumbling it all the way back into his 22, but in the end it worked quite nicely. And that was just a chain of errors. They can afford to smile about it now. They lead by 19 points to 5 to Glasgow. 8 minutes to go.
Just get that patience and that balance. Okay.
There you can see the alterations that have been made. The Glasgow bench emptied. And in the context of a season, Scott, when we look at where Glasgow have been in recent months, drained of much of their talent throughout the early part of the season because of the World Cup, now looking forward to the Six Nations when they lose more as well. I mean, how important might today be?
Oh, massively important. Sila Puafisi there, for example, he'll be playing all the way through the Six Nations Championship. So will Shalva Mamukashvili. And of course, people like Leone Nakarawa and James Eddy, they're important. So I think Glasgow have shown that this can spark their season, and certainly the second half has been far better. Young hooker there in the middle, James Malcolm, alongside Sila Puafisi. That's all augurs well for this youngster, and a lot of the guys coming through, and of course young Scott Cummings, who's come on the field of play as well.
Crouch!
He's looking at that front row as it is now. James Malcolm, replacement hooker, just 21. Xander Ferguson over the tight head side, 20. Jerry Yanatawa, the Fijian. He provides the experience as well as quite a lot of ballast there on the loose head side.
Sorry, I got the props confused on that last bit of play, but Duncan Weir now just has an opportunity. So they've built solidly, they've played a better half.
What do you make of Xander Ferguson? Because if he does get a game in the Six Nations, he will become Scotland's youngest prop for more than half a century.
Quite extraordinary, actually, and really made an impact in the 1872 Cup games when he came off the bench and suddenly got that starting position. And what a testimony to somebody who's on a roll.
There he was with the ball in hand. Here's James Eddy. 6 minutes to go. There's Nayaboro. Grayson Hart just getting the ball. Back again to the scrum half. Here goes Weir, drifting across field. Offloads it. This is good continuity. That was Malcolm. Warriors starting to enjoy themselves. Ferguson taking it in. Hart there having to straddle the Racing player. Penalty advantage being played, but Seymour gathers it. Now they've got some front foot ball. That's Johnson out of the back of the hand. Just drifting across field there was Hart. Johnson plays scrum half on from Gray. Last 5 minutes of the match. That was Ferguson. Here's Hart again. Weir. Now there's an opportunity. The pace coming from Seymour. Well, he just got it out, but Lee Jones couldn't gather it.
Okay, that's all. That's right. What's up, fellas?
Once again, Seymour busy, industrious, always looking for work, always coming off his wing. Nice little touch there from Weir. And then the attack was down that far side again. There's been some good play.
So 4.5 minutes to go. Tommy Seymour getting back to his feet. Glasgow well on their way to victory. Time to consider Scott our Heineken Cup man of the match.
Yeah, well, undoubtedly Tommy Seymour has played his part, as has Stuart Hogg, but for me, my Heineken man of the match is the number 8, Leone Nakarawa. He's been impressive throughout. His tackling's been good, his offloading's been good, but it's his ability to get his hands on the ball, to keep momentum into Glasgow's play, which is what has really, really impressed me. Undoubtedly one for the forwards, and I'm sure he will be the first to acknowledge that the support that he's had from his fellow forward colleagues in the second half has marked him out for that Heineken Man of the Match.
And playing out of position as well.
Very much so at number 8, but he's been involved in an awful lot.
Here's Benjamin Dombiel. Or can Racing conjure something in these last 4 minutes or so? It was Lacombe. And Racing are penalised. Well, Glasgow will bow out of the Champions Cup this evening, but they will do it in fine style, and they will reflect that it was just the last 2 or 3 minutes last week at Franklin's Gardens when Tim Swinson went to the sin bin and they conceded that late try that in the end was the difference between them qualifying and going out. But this may prove 80 minutes that turns their season around. Duncan Weir slots the penalty and Glasgow are into the 20s.
Well, Glasgow will enjoy this win after 4 losses on the trot. They'll enjoy this particular victory. Now, certainly, what an improvement. This second 40 minutes has been an awful lot better from what I've seen over the last 4 weeks, albeit that the slender loss to Northampton was a real killer blow last week, because they played with real heart last week, and they've come to Kilmarnock and they've played with ambition in the second half.
Yes, Glasgow will be hoping that the pitch at Scotstoun is back in shape. That's 4 weekends away when they take on Munster. Back up in Glasgow. That penalty, by the way, being awarded for Wenceslas Loré tugging the back of the jersey of Tangeli Nairaboro. So the last 2 minutes, Glasgow on the front foot.
Nice touch find there from Duncan Weir, that end over end kicking style which is prevalent at this moment in time. You don't see an awful lot of screw kicks into the corner.
Well, the catch and drive is the Racing calling card. And Glasgow do something similar of their own. They go to, at the front of the line there was Cummings. Grayson Hart with his hands on the ball. There goes Fagerson. Final 90 seconds, Hart. Was it an opportunity here? Out to Malcolm. Gomez Sarr made the tackle. Yanatoa has been forced towards the touchline.
Well, Glasgow will be disappointed they didn't make more of that. They had a great attacking line out. Perhaps James Malcolm should have just backed himself to go in at the corner and drive.
There's Benjamin Dombiel.
Line's yours, Glasgow.
It's another fly half specialist who's at Racing.
Here's Malcolm there, stretch your defence. That's what an old coach of mine used to say. The easiest tackle to be made is the one on the inside. The difficult one is when you're stretching, when you're going for the corner. It's difficult to stop somebody with power and pace, and Malcolm had his opportunity to slip in at the corner there.
Well, the line out stolen by Glasgow, but then turned over. There's Dombiel onto Dumoulin. Long pass out here to Marc-Andre. A rare opportunity for the win. And he was comfortably ushered into touch by Lee Jones.
And Martin, isn't it interesting that we've hardly mentioned the two Racing 92 wings, Louis Dupichot and Marc-Andre, compared to the two wings for Glasgow. Tommy Seymour, Tangeli Nairaboro has also been involved, as has Lee Jones, but we've hardly mentioned, as I said, the two French wings because they've been strangled with the ball. They haven't won enough ball in the second half.
So the last phase of the match, through the hands of Nakarawa. Forward goes Marceau. Could we see one final act of defiance from Racing? Dombiel, Demoulin. Bit of space there for Wenceslas-Loré. Chauveau, Gomez Sarr. Look at the power. But he's stripped, the ball's taken into touch. And Wayne Barnes blows his whistle for the end of the match. So Johnny Gray has led Glasgow to victory. A victory which on reflection could be so important for their season.
Yeah, I think you would agree the second 40 minutes has been better than the first 40 when Glasgow led by 3 points to 0, but solid performance from a lot of the Glasgow stalwarts, the likes of Stuart Hogg, the likes of Alex Dunbar. Price made his play as well at half-back, but also Finn Russell, a confidence display from him. But up front, men like that, James Eddy and Leone Nakarawa, well, they certainly made a difference in this second half.
Well, it's just a third defeat of the season for Racing 92. Beaten twice in the top 14. And now suffering their first defeat in a Champions Cup pool match since they lost at Clermont-Auvergne 2 years ago this very weekend. They will, of course, go on to the quarterfinals. They have a home tie. They finished top of the pool with 22 points. However, they will go into those quarterfinals having suffered defeat here. And in all honesty, they were well and truly beaten, weren't they?
They were, and yet when you turn the clock back 2 weeks ago when Racing Metro won this reverse fixture, the delayed round 1 fixture, it was played 2 weeks ago, it was the Glasgow team that were actually outmuscled in that game by certainly a pack, and perhaps too many changes in this Racing 92 squad that resulted in the opportunity for Glasgow to take what is undoubtedly a good scalp in Europe.
So there you can see how things stand. And it's all part of the very sportsmanlike and gentlemanly way that rugby is played. The funnel of the losing side greeting Glasgow as they go into that very narrow tunnel there, back into the dressing rooms. Things still going on down in West Wales, where Northampton have secured 4 tries, so they have a try bonus point, heading for victory down at Parker Scarlets. And that 4th try in particular, coming from George North, could well make all the difference when all the totting up is done at the end of tomorrow. So still about 6 minutes to go. They're running a bit behind where we are, but 22 points to 3. It is to Northampton. Within those 22 points, 4 tries. And they're the scorer of the 4th of them. Well, the result down there in Llanelli mean this has been a win that won't necessarily take, well, it won't take Glasgow through to the quarterfinals, but it is a win that delivers a massive boost. Glasgow